What's going on, guys? This is Kaisha. Welcome back. Happy New Year to all of you guys. We are back with another content to start this year strong with top 5 meta decks this January 2024. So we assimilate the top 5 best meta decks to play in this January format, and it is a new beginning for a new year. But first, let's have an overview towards our January 2024 format. So the ban list address some of the concerning issues in the format, such as removing Calamity. So a very absurd card that is played by Centurion, Naturia Horus, and many more decks that abuses this card. So we don't need to worry about getting Calamities on the game and just auto lose from that, no? So gone are the days where the time where we lose the die roll and just auto scoop or auto lose against a deck that runs Calamity because we don't have answers to the Calamity. So yeah, we don't need to worry about that anymore. And also the ban list toned down some of the popular decks on the metagame, such as Labyrinth getting hits as well, and Purely both getting harsh treatments from the ban list. So they have been touched by the ban list, and I think it's rightfully deserved because they have been very popular deck on the metagame and a mainstay for a couple of months already and formats. Especially Labyrinth has been quite strong since the last year up until this date. So now they have been receiving hits from the ban list. And on the other hand, the Fire Nation, aka the Fire King, Rescue Ace, Snake Eyes, Infernoid, and Salamangreat, all of those fire attribute based decks continue to dominate the meta landscape, with them escaping the ban list just like Lupin escaping Cups, no? So I'm not really quite sure on how they have survived the ban list, but yeah, it is what it is. And lastly, QCDB was introduced to us to support legacy archetypes in the game. So yeah, supports for Hero, the Wing Kuribu level 6, and other supports like the Salamangreat Code Talker. So they have been getting supports from the legacy archetypes. So we move towards our top 5. At first, we have Branded. This may be on controversial pick and a hot take, but I cannot question the versatility of Branded, no? And its adaptability to mesh with the metagame environment and continue to perform. Branded has been through various adversities, such as the Sprite format, Tier Lemons format, the recent Rescues format, and now the Fire Kings format. The deck has been a solid rock, no matter what the metagame throws at them. So with that, I gave Branded the recognition they actually deserve. Now, let's move towards my sample deck list of Branded. Quick disclaimers before we proceed. The samples provided here are by no means the standard or the correct build for the decks here, but my own understanding on how to build the deck and on my own accords and preferences only. So I have chosen the 40 card version of Branded over the Grass 60 version because even though the Grass version has more gas and explosiveness, I do feel like that the 40 card version is more consistent and reliable to go along with longer tournaments. So yeah, I do feel like that the 40 card is the nicest version of Branded right now. I think it's really consistent over the 60. So we are going to discuss the strengths of Branded, starting off with the evergreen status of the deck. Because like I've said earlier, the adaptability of Branded is top notch. They have been relevant since 2021. Imagine that 3 years have passed already. So I do feel like that you can bet on the deck that is proven by time at the beginning of a new format like this January 2024. It always feels like nice when your deck is already proven and tested by the bounds of time, no? So next is the ability of the deck to play even losing the die roll, as you have intangibles like Fusion Deployment, Nadir Servant, and Bestials that can be very valuable to bait your opponent's interruptions and negations when you lose the die roll when going second. To top things off, Branded has a solid resource pool that has great recursion and resilience, so you can always have room for comebacks and a profound ability to recover and have follow-ups for your following turns. So we navigate towards the weaknesses of the deck, and one major concern is the deck can be underwhelming. You know what I mean? When you feel like you are doing the correct plays, but it feels like it's never enough, no? To overwhelm your opponent or outmaneuver them to oblivion. The deck really struggles when they don't have the right circumstance for them to shine. So Branded players knows that very well. I have known so many Branded players rant about this factor on the deck, that the deck feels subpar at certain occasions. But yeah, And also, the trickier part is you always need to be mindful of Ash Blossom. One of the most prominent cards in the game, especially in OCG, is the deck's Silver Bullet. So, you need to continue to do countermeasures on playing around Ash Blossom all the time. So yeah, that sums up our top 5 on this list. We have Branded. Moving on next towards our top 4 on this list, we have Voiceless Voice. A fairly new deck on the block, debuting from Phantom Nightmare set, but immediately made an impact on the metagame, banking on establishing a fairly solid board with negations, and the consistency of the deck is elite as well. So yeah, moving on. We ride on the strengths of the deck right off the bat with its multiple interruptions and negations, because the deck can consistently make Omni negation and special summon negation as well. So as having also destroying effects, that is pivotal on its going first prowess. And also the instant success of the deck also attributes from the excellent consistency of the deck, having multiple starters to start its plays, from Novox, Diviner, to pre-prep, rights, and pot cards like Extravagance and Prosperity. Also, the deck's learning curve is quite easy, so many people can pick up on this deck with ease and pilot it on a good note right away. So yeah, it's really quite of a helmet deck, as some people say, because this deck is quite easy to play but still very effective on that regard. So yeah, this what makes Voiceless Voice a very compelling deck to play right now. Another notable feature of the deck is it has built-in protection that prevents the board from being targeted by cards. So just imagine the immense protection it gives to the board while also covering resiliency, no? So, but on its weaknesses, Super Poly is very much played right now, and it hits the deck like a 16-wheeler truck. Being easy targets for Super Poly is significant to the success of the deck this format, no? So Super Poly is very much played on everyone's main deck, side deck right now, and it is a very powerful card, and you need to be mindful of that, no? Because many decks are losing to Super Poly because of Garura and Madragon Fusion. So yeah, we cannot never debunk that Super Poly is very game warping right now in order to play through that card. So moving on towards the top 3, our top 3 on this list, we have a household name here in the name of Rescue Ace, Sinful Spoil, Snake Eyes. The former arguable best deck on the previous format of the OCG drops down to a respectable 3rd position here on our list. So yeah, moving on. Proceeding towards the strengths of the deck, we cannot deny the fact that Resolving Turbulence is almost game for most cases, because it gives you 2 instant disruptions from the Contain and the other trap, and 2 cards for recovery and resiliency, all in just one effect of Turbulence, no? So once you resolve Turbulence, you will be in a very commanding position to win the game. And also the HQ, or the headquarters field spell, also provides an insane amount of grind game for the deck, as it is replenishes your resources back to the deck and be available once again to be played on your disposal. So once Rescue Ace is not toppled early on, prepare for a horrifying grind game experience against them. And another good kit of the deck is it has multiple engines like Sinful Spoils and Snake Eyes to improve the ceiling of the deck and provide passages on different plays for this deck. So you have multiple options to start your plays using the Rescue Ace with the Airlifter and other cards here like Emergency, and also the Snake Eyes engine, like you're going to see here. I'm playing Snake Eyes Ash to complement the Snake Eyes strategy on this list, and also the Bonfire, of course, very powerful card for the deck. And on its weaknesses, let's dive towards the major issue of the deck, mainly due to the previous ban list hits hitting the deck consecutively, resulting in a loss of consistency and resiliency of the deck, as they have lost copies of Airlifter and Emergencies altogether. So they have lost 1 copy of Airlifter and 2 copies of Emergency. Is quite a significant hit towards the consistency of Rescue Ace at this point. And another glaring weakness of the deck is losing to board breakers like Lightning Storm and Duster that can contain their back row strategy. So Rescue Ace relies on their back row setup, with the back row cards of Rescue Ace interrupting their opponents. They are very much prone to cards like Lightning Storm and Duster, especially now that they have ditched the Synchro build of Rescue Ace, they don't really run Omni-Negate cards anymore on this list. So yeah, they are very prone to Lightning Storms, Evenlys, and Dusters, and also Heavy Storm, a new addition to the back row breakers of many people right now. So yeah, this is a deck that can be quite fragile at times, no? So moving on, let's conquer our second best deck on this list. It will be none other than Snake Eyes, a very popular deck on the meta that rallied on the meta game upon getting their support from Phantom Nightmare and having access to Promethean that provides immense value for them. Now let's zoom towards the positive strengths of the deck. 3 Snake Eyes, Ash, 3 Witches, the Devil Star, and 3 Wanted Posters, 3 Bonfires. Those inclusions can already speak volume towards the high consistency of the deck. So it is not an issue for the deck at this point. Consistency will never be an issue for this deck at this point. So yeah, this is a very consistent deck that can make their plays most of the time. Snake Eyes can also establish the most oppressive boards on the format, having access to Ambluel with Promethean on their graveyard, Apollousa, Barone, and Savage as their keycards on their board to negate and disrupt their opponent's plays can be quite terrifying, no? To be paired against. And another factor of the deck is the spacey trait of the deck that has 12 to 15 space for hand traps and tech cards that can help you improve the consistency of the deck or have answers to your opponents even losing the die roll. But yeah, moving on towards the weaknesses, no deck is ever perfect because the most popular hand traps on the format like Droll, Nibiru hurts a lot against this deck and can single-handedly end your turn. So one Droll, one Nibiru can definitely spell the end on your turn, no, using the Snake Eyes. So it's quite vulnerable to popular hand traps on the format. And also this deck is also reliant on their negates and interruptions. So cards like Forbidden Droplet, which is kinda popular right now as the going second option to negate boards, can annihilate your setup, sadly, because Forbidden Droplet is powerful right now in the format. That's why I have included the card on the main deck on this list because it's really powerful when you can resolve the Droplet against the popular meta decks. Now we move towards the non-arguable best deck of the format, and I'm pretty sure it will not surprise a lot of people on how obvious it is. And it will be none other than Fire King Snake Eyes. It is without doubt that it will be this deck, outclassing every deck on the format in terms of representations and winning high-stake tournaments on the OCG. I was baffled when they didn't get hits from the January ban list, but here we go. So, strengths of the deck. Let's ignite this topic on tackling the strengths of the deck. And it's no contest now, Fire King Snake Eyes is the undisputed kings of the metagame. Before Rescue Ace is debatable on being the best deck, many people have argued that Rescue Ace is the best deck, and I myself have considered Rescue Ace as the best deck before, but now it is clear as day that this deck clears the throne on being the best deck. So yeah, it doesn't really come close right now. Fire King Snake Eyes is the arguable best deck on this format. And also, Fire King Snake Eyes has an efficient resource depth while having the best consistency, mainly to the fact that they have multitudes of starters and the deck can consistently do what they wanna do, and also having the best resource depth that is very handy on prolonged game states and outgassing their rivals. So yeah, you don't really wanna go into grind games against these Fire King. Not only they are pretty explosive when doing interruptions, and also they can also pop cards and cards on the field that can really give value to them. So yeah, it's really hard to beat this deck, to be honest. And also, I haven't seen a mid-range deck that is this good, that has tools to set up interruptions, destroy boards, that also has the space to tech in cards to mitigate their opponent's plays. So yeah, you can look at that. Even though this deck is quite cramped with Snake Eyes and Sinful Spoils with Fire King, it also has spaces for cards like Talents, Imperm, Veiler, and Droll, aside from the Maxi and the Crossout and Call By package. So yeah, this is a very powerful mid-range deck on the format, and it's one of the top mid-range decks of the recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Modern game. So weaknesses, Fire King Snake Eyes are already mighty But with all their might, everyone wants to dethrone them at the top. So everybody has targets on their back. Meaning Drolls, Nibs, Nibirus, side decking Soul Release, which is very popular right now, and Anti-Spell, and all the cards that are effective against you are all prevalent on the deck, building tendencies of many players right now, nowadays. So yeah, people are on pursuit of beating the Fire King right now. So many people will really prepare hard against this deck because this is the best deck on the format. And another discerning factor on playing this deck isn't an autopilot kind of deck, no? And you need to have the clear distinctions on where and when to use the interruption of this deck. So yeah, this deck doesn't really negate everything like Drytron on the old days. They don't really have multitudes of negations on their board, and this deck relies on disruptions. So you need to perfectly use your disruptions to utilize this deck on the best version of it. So you need to time your destroy effects really well, and use your resources very good as well. And also the timing of your hand traps should be also on point, because this deck can really suffer if you don't really know what you're doing with this deck. So yeah, you need to have the ample knowledge to Fire King archetype to use its effectively, and also the synergy between the Snake Eyes and the Sinful Spoils as well, that meshes well on the deck altogether. So yeah, this sums up our top 5 meta decks for January 2024 OCG format. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you do learn something from this video. Hit the subscribe button if you wanna get more contents like this, and hit the like button if you like this kind of video. So thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Happy New Year, guys. Peace.